Welcome everyone to this week's FXK Weekly Forecast Breakdown Series, Volume 2. Okay, guys? So I do want to thank all of you guys for tuning in today. Guys, don't forget, by the way, go ahead and click that subscribe button so you guys stay up to date with any of our latest market forecasts. With that being said, guys, as always, we're going to go ahead and dive right into the market. So what I'm looking at right now is NZDJPY. I'm sorry, not NZDJPY, NZDUSD. Okay, we do have news tonight, guys. So we have that RBNZ rate news tonight. Okay, so please be mindful of that. Okay, and so with that being said, that's actually going to determine how I approach this pair. So overall, in this current structure of price, we've been heading in kind of this downwards channel, right? Okay, so I'm not trying to make this look too pretty right now. Just kind of want you guys to grab that photo, right? So you guys can see what's going on here. Previously, we established a support at this low, okay? So what I'm overall looking for is potentially a double bottom to be actually forming right now. And we're looking for an overall break out of this trend line, counter trend line structure, if you would say here. Overall, for me to hop in this trade, I'm actually going to be buying this once price breaks above 0.66104, okay? My targets, TP1 can be around this area, TP2 around this area, TP3 around this area over here, okay? So typically, I'm going to use price action targets, or if I'm not going to use something else like Fibonacci targets, or if I can see something else, harmonic targets, different things like that. But in this case, I'm going after those price action levels to be some of my key target areas, okay? So again, there is news approaching tonight, guys. Be mindful of that. I'm bullish on the news overall on NZDUSD. I'm looking for that higher time frame double bottom to form. On the daily time frame, we actually just formed a reversal candle as well that closed today. So that's a good sign for exhaustion and potential reversal. So we'll see how price reacts for that news. If you have a broker that allows it, guys, okay, what you can do is sell stop it once price breaks below this low, or you can buy stop it once price breaks above this resistance here, okay? If not, then I would just pick a side and I would buy it, okay? So I'm on the bullish side for this pair. I'm going to use a buy stop. That way I don't get caught in any kind of bad moves for the news. If I miss the trade, I just miss it, okay? If we catch the trade, cheers, guys, more pips for us. So that's going to be NZDUSD. Let me show you guys a little bit zoomed out, kind of what we're looking for here. So this is my chart in full. You guys can see that Fibonacci from that previous high, well, actually the main high to the current low, okay? And so here we had almost a channel structure here, but it's a little bit ugly, right? We don't have that downside, just have that top side. So we can go off of just our price action structure of price making those lower highs, lower lows throughout this area. Okay, so we can definitely see a lower high here, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, okay, lower low, lower high. So potentially we might be forming support here. That's what I'm expecting. If so, then we'll bounce up here, looking to form that double bottom, as you guys can see a lot more clearly here, and then take off. Our next area of interest will be in this area of resistance. If it breaks above this TL, my first zone that I'm actually going to aim for would be here. Okay, so this is the first zone. If it breaks that TL, it's more than likely headed up to this zone. And the next area we would be headed is to this supply zone as well. So that's NZDUSD in a nutshell, guys. If it breaks below that support, you guys can see that sell target is around this zone right before that extension 1272 level. Okay. And so that's NZDUSD. Next, we're going to be going over EURAUD. This is a pair I do like, okay? Now, guys, understand that this pair, the way we're going to approach this pair is a little bit different, okay? Because we're actually trying to fully forecast this pair. It hasn't shown us something fully established yet, but we're kind of taking that visual off of what price is giving us now and making a judgment off of that on what's going to happen potentially in the future, right? So we have to be a little bit cautious on this because it hasn't shown us full pattern, okay? But what I'm actually expecting is a head and shoulders pattern. I love how price formed that left shoulder here, made a new high, okay? and then showed a nice resistance range just to reject back down into those lows. And so what I'm actually looking for is price to retest into this region, okay, and then drop back down. Overall, if we want to put a bubble on this, I'm looking for a retest at the 50 or the 61.8. Those would be my ideal areas of interest to take this trade to the downside. Stop loss is going to be at the previous high, which is going to be this level here. Depending on how the pair approaches this zone, depends on how tight you can move the stop loss, okay? So you could potentially have your stop loss. Let me change the color of this. You could potentially have your stop loss right here around the yellow zone if you want to be a little bit more tight with it. If you want to be more relaxed, then I would put it at the high of the head. That way, if it does follow this head and shoulders pattern, then it should not exceed the level of the head. Now, it can get pretty darn close to the top of this head, okay? And it still can reject back down. That's why this one could not be the best interest, because it can come up a little bit high into this 88.6 and then form that right shoulder and still drop. As long as it respects this top region, it can still form that head and shoulders pattern. But overall, I'm looking for it to form in this region. So once we get that exhaustion in this level, again, guys, make sure you're using your confirmations once price does reach the area of interest to look for a potential reversal in the market. So once we get to this area of interest, okay, I'm going to be looking for my extra confirmations. If I do receive them, then I'll be looking to take a short trade here. My targets are going to be here as the first target. And now this is if we take this at the more aggressive entry. I'll show you guys a more conservative entry and conservative targets, okay? So that's the aggressive entry. Target 1 is going to be here. Target 2, I would actually make, let's see, let's grab something better. So this is if we get the reversal in this area. Once price gets in this area, what I would then do is readjust my Fibonacci. So I know there's a lot of Fibonacci on here, guys, a little bit advanced. So I do apologize, guys, when I want to show you guys these levels. So once Fibonacci does once price does reach this level, I'll readjust the Fibonacci, okay, to the actual high, okay. And once I get that actual high, that's going to show me my new retracements. And from there, I'll be able to grab a lot better TPs, okay? So we'll be able to grab basically the most recent TPs from the most recent swing, right? So from this most recent low into the swing high. Okay, so once that shows itself, I'll be re-looking at these levels here. So if it does come here, then I would look for, we want to make this a little bit better. I would look for that 61.8 as the first TP. I would go for the previous low, okay? So this is that low. I would go for this previous low as the second TP. And overall, I'm going to go for the extension level, that 1272, as the third TP. Also, this is going to complete the measurement. Well, not fully completed, but it's going to get about 75%. And the way I like to trade is I look for at least 75% of the measurement of any of the patterns in order to consider it completed. Okay, so once it gets at 75%, I'm cool with that, and I'll consider it completed from the head and shoulders pattern. So if you've tuned into our previous weekly forecast, then you'll catch little nuggets of me dishing out, you know, here and there. And so one of the things that I explained previously is how I identify and look at head and shoulders patterns. So I measure them, okay? So you'll either get a measurement of the left shoulder, or you'll get a measurement of the right shoulder, or you'll get a measurement of the full neckline to the head, okay? So I usually like to go for the smallest measurement. As you guys can see, I would assume this is going to be the smallest measurement. The reason being is because I expect price to come all the way up here, and the low is here. So if I measure this side and prices to come all the way up here, then you guys can see that this measurement is about 96 pips versus this one is 73. So this to me is the smallest measurement. So I'm going to go with that one. I of course know the head to the neckline is never going to be the smallest measurement. Okay, it's always going to be the largest. So going for the smallest measurement, we're taking profit just before it could complete that pattern. So we're trying to go ahead and get in and out of this trade before it has any kind of hiccups in the market. So that's what I'm looking for on EURAUD, guys. Pretty simple setup. I'm going to clear this off and clean it up for you guys. And that's EURAUD. EURJPY, nothing too new on this pair. Just kind of an update. What I was looking for towards the end of the week, I actually pushed this pair out. We were looking for the retracement a little bit higher into the zone. I wanted to see it come up into that 71% Fibonacci level and then give us that retracement, or at least closer to that 61.8. It got kind of close. I actually saw this move happening due to the head and shoulders pattern that formed right here. And literally, guys, I wanted to sell this trade right here. But something just told me, you know, wait a little bit longer, you know, and unfortunately it didn't happen. It ended up dropping, but it's cool. You know, I'd rather stay and wait patiently and let the market come to me than try to chase it, right? So in this case, we missed this trade, but this analysis played out very beautiful. Okay, the head and shoulders pattern, and we got to achieve our target zone. Okay, so all the way to it. So a very beautiful trade. At the opening of market, we actually achieved this. So this trade, I think I gave out on Thursday or Friday. So pretty nice and smooth, actually. You know, over the weekend, we come back to the market on Sunday and, you know, hitting that TP. So it's definitely a beautiful thing. Next thing that we're going to go over and review is UJ. So this pair, another updated pair from last week. I hope you guys were able to capitalize on this opportunity. I let all of my mentor students know that I was going to be trading this pair very heavily, okay? So in other words, big lots on UJ. We sold this pair around this level, guys. This was a very beautiful trade all the way down, pure profit all the way down. I actually gave this out as well on the last week's forecast, okay? This was a beautiful trade for about, even if you're holding it right now, about 150 pips, you know? And so overall, we're targeting this zone, which should give us around 170 pips. It's almost there, almost completed. Okay, we were trading this pattern. So overall, the pattern for me will complete at this level. So there could be maybe a retracement around this zone. I'm actually looking for a couple of other pairs to do some other things, which I'll be showing you guys shortly. Like AUDUSD, I'm expecting this pair to potentially go bullish, guys. So I would like to see UJ continue the downfall, okay? So I'll actually just go ahead and doodle up some things on here for you guys to pay attention to if it does break the support, okay? Because that would lead for us heading down to further price action. So again, guys, as always, I hope you are enjoying our weekly forecast breakdown. I do thank all of you guys for subscribing and the likes, guys. Continue to do that, guys. That's definitely the motivation for me to continue to drop these weekly videos for you guys. As always, guys, thank you again. Let's see. So that's going to be the second level there. I'm actually not going to be looking for anything down here too much. So once we break this support, what I'll be looking for, and again, support at 109.712, I'm actually going to look for a downfall all the way to the zone. So that's where overall I expect price to achieve if we break this support. Now, it needs to be a daily break and close, okay? A daily break and close. And the safest way to trade this would be the break and close and the retest, okay? So once price breaks and closes, wait for it to retest and then continue with the trade to the downside, okay? Sorry, guys, some TP's being hit, you know? So wait for that to break below support, find a new support, reach resistance, and then you guys can look to trade the trade a little bit safely, and be mindful that it might actually pull a little bit deeper into resistance. That UJ about to finish up, guys, about to finish up, looking beautiful. So watch for maybe a deeper retracement. If it doesn't come here, it might retrace a little bit deeper to that weekly support, which would then turn resistance and then get the retracement off of that to the downside. Now, I wouldn't take the full gap as the TP. Break this down, guys. Depending on your trading style, if you're fine with a 2-to-1 ratio, break it down into a 2-to-1 ratio, guys. If you like more so of a 3-to-1 ratio, break this down into increments of 3, guys, and grab you 3 separate targets out of this range. You can go for price action levels. Here's one target you guys can choose. If we want to break it down into 3s, you'll want to come with something a little bit higher that actually might be where we form that support. And here's going to be the second nice level for TP2, and then that third TP3 going to be at that previous demand, okay? So that's how you break that down, guys. Break it down via price action. If you just want to go for a 2-way support, boom, there you go, okay? So it's just completely up to you, and I would actually go for this level here because this looks like it would be hit before that level, so I would go for this one, and that's just to make sure you're staying safe in the trade because we all know the market can turn back around at any moment. So we like to get what we can without seeing any kind of backlash against us, right? So that's UJ, guys. Overall, if we look at the daily, we might actually be forming a double top as well. Okay, so that's another thing to keep eye on. We did make a gap. Okay, so one thing about gaps, they do always fill. Now, the catch is that they don't always fill immediately. Okay, so this gap could fill tomorrow, or this gap could fill next week, or this gap could fill next month. Okay, so it will fill. Okay, but it's just all about a matter of when. Okay, so be mindful that there is a gap here on this pair. So personally, usually I like to see all gaps cleared before I take any kind of long-term assumptions on as far as my analysis. So maybe we might see something like this. You know, we might drop down, come back up, and then make that long-term sell. Again, the only way we're selling this is if we break below this support. So what I just explained to you guys was the opportunity that we would trade once it breaks and closes below this support on the daily time frame. Okay. So if it doesn't do that, then as of right now, you know, we're still on the bullish side. As you guys can see, you know, we've been heading up, right? So it has broken, okay? But overall, we've been heading up. So until it breaks this low, we've been making higher highs, higher low, right? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. It hasn't formed a lower low yet to break this low. So once it breaks this low with the lower low, that's that shift in momentum and that change in price that we're looking for. That's going to let us know that price is going to head further to the downside. So for UJ, that's what I'm looking for, guys. The safe trade, again, is below the break of support. USDCAD. So this trade here, I'm looking at. So one thing before we finish up today, guys, so we have one more pair. Not looking at a lot of pairs today, or just this week in general. Okay, I'm looking at just a small amount that I like the setups for that are setting up pretty nicely. Okay, so USDCAD, I'm looking for a downside on this move. So some of these are updates. Some of these are actual opportunities that you guys can look forward to as soon as you watch this video. Okay, so that's what I'm about to go ahead and tell you guys. So NZDUSD, this is an opportunity that you guys can actually take as soon as you watch this video. Again, there's news coming out tonight. So today is 5 May 7th of 2019. So right now it's 7:05 Central Standard Time. The news should be dropping in about 2 hours. Okay. So be mindful of that. The news will be dropping pretty soon. Okay. So this is basically a news trade. Okay. So the news is what's supposed to clear this. So as you guys can see, the last RBNZ rate was here. You guys can see the types of move that happen. So we're definitely looking for a nice, impulsive, sharp, hard move. Okay. That's going to be tonight. This is going to be one of the key things that I'm watching tonight, and probably one of the key trades that I'm going to be looking at for the remainder of this week, just to get that nice, quick in and out trade there for NZD USD. And this is a news trade. EURAUD, this is an opportunity that you guys can take as soon as you watch this video. Okay. EURJPY, this opportunity is done. This is just something I was just showing you guys how it turned out. USDJPY, this is an opportunity that you guys can take after you watch this video once price breaks below support. As of right now, we're carrying over from the last week's trade, okay, to support, and we're about to hit that final TP soon. We also had a USDCAD last week as well, guys, that is doing pretty well, okay. The buy was here. So I hope you guys were definitely able to grab some profit. I think our entry was actually here. So it went about 80 pips and it's still floating. Now, again, I'm giving you guys now a bearish analysis. So that means I think price is going to turn back around. So for those of you that are still holding those USDCAD longs, I need you guys to update your trade options and be mindful of that. So if you're still going long, okay, if you still want to hold this, you need to have your stop loss at this high, okay? Because if you're going long on this, you need to have your stop loss. I'm so sorry, guys. You need to have your stop loss below this low. right here. So if it breaks this low, then I'm expecting price to go ahead and continue to do what it needs to do as far as for the pattern and what the higher time frame is showing. Okay. If it breaks back above this high, then you can hold those longs and price should achieve this zone or if even higher price. Okay. So that's something to be watching on USDCAD as far as the update from last week. What I'm looking for right now is basically for this head and shoulders pattern to play out. Okay. I'll show you guys the daily candle that just closed. Okay, so you guys can see the daily, looking from that daily time frame, looking at these daily candles. Okay, we have some indecision in this range. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rejections in this range. Okay, so what I'm looking for is that 7th rejection to that downside. You guys can see definitely we tried to pierce the zone, but we couldn't break it, guys. We tried to do it again here, but we just could not break it. So this is definitely a strong zone. I'm looking for the resistance to play out right now. As far as the trade opportunity, look at that 4-hour time frame as well, guys. Look at these reversal candlesticks. These are inverted hammers. Look at these reversal candlesticks. A beautiful thing to see. So what I'm looking for is for that head and shoulders pattern to play out. So again, guys, for the head and shoulders pattern, we take the measurements. So as you guys can see, pretty much all of these shoulders are and the head are almost the same measurement. But I'm going to go ahead and grab the smallest one, which looks like it would be I'm not going to go for the wick. I'm going to go for this close of the candle, and I would duplicate that. Now, as you guys can see, it's actually going to lead us further down than this support. So I'm actually only going to take the trade up to this support because of I might see a different vision at this support. This support is a key level, okay? So price needs to break this support in order for me to see further price action to the downside. So I'm not going to target this area because this is an important level right before this area. So I don't want to get caught out, focusing on this level when we have something very more important before that level, okay? So we have that previous low. I want to say that previous low be taken out, okay, in order to see price hit to further downside, which overall, if we're going to break it down even more, we're going to go for this demand zone here and then hit for this demand zone here. So that's USDCAD in a nutshell, guys. I'm looking for the trade opportunity in this zone, stop loss at the high. This is a head and shoulders pattern that I'm expecting. So if it's going to play out correctly, it needs to respect the head. So the stop loss is at the high. Another reason I like this trade is because the stop loss is only about 20 to 25 pips. Okay. So anytime you're able to grab a trade with the stop loss about 20 to 25 pips, me personally, I love to jump on it, especially when you get a good ratio with it as well. So we're risking about, let's say that stop loss is actually less than 20 pips now, guys. It's 19 pips. We're risking 19 pips to potentially catch 100 pips. That's basically a 5-to-1. Okay, so I'm not going to miss out on that. I love the opportunity. Price action is definitely showing itself here. So we'll see how this turns out. That's USDCAD. The last thing that we'll be going over today is going to be AUDUSD. So with AUDUSD, I'm actually looking for price to respect the current support and then take off from here. Okay. So overall, I've been looking at this pair for a long time. And for those of you that know, AUDUSD is one of my favorite pairs. And you'll probably be seeing a lot of these pairs in each of our market reviews each week as far as AUDUSD, because it's just one of my go-to guys. I love AU. It's held it down throughout my trading career. It's definitely made me a substantial amount, right? So with AUDUSD, looking at that higher time frame, one thing I don't like, okay, is the fact that we're finally playing below this region here, okay? I do like the indecision in the range. I do like how this candle closed for the last week, okay? So this is this week's current week. Now, the reason I'm still on the bullish side, even though it's broken support, is because of how this candle opened, okay? This was due to fundamentals, okay? This was due to some things that happened as far as the trade war over the weekend, talks being escalated, and so that was the outcome, right? So I'm not too much stressed on that move just too much yet because I also like how we got that impulsive move back to the upside. So to me, candlesticks, they tell you something, okay? They all tell a story. And so it's up to you as the reader to understand the story. So to me, what this tells me, this candlestick alone tells me that price wants to move further up. Okay. So with that being said, guys, what I'm looking for, even on the weekly, I'm sorry, on the daily, you guys can see that daily candle just closed. I like a candle that closes like this. And this is just from my experience in the market, and just seeing price for a long time. You know, I've been trading 5 years, guys. I watch candles. I probably, out of 5 years, I probably missed maybe 1 week out of the market, maybe 1 week. And we're talking about equivalent to 7 days. And this is actually during the periods that I've quit. Like, I've quit trading like 5 times, guys. It's just a part of the journey. Everyone's going to get discouraged, but you just have to keep in there. You have to stay going, guys. And one of the best things I ever did was kept going, right? So even when I would get discouraged and quit, you know, it would only be for like 24 hours, 48 hours. But out of those 5 years, guys, I'm on these charts. I'm watching these charts. So just as being an active trader, just seeing this candlestick form like this usually is a candlestick that would fill, okay? So I'm actually expecting price to fill this candlestick. I love how the daily close above this zone here. So before market close, right? This was kind of that previous support. So as you guys can see, we quickly got back above that previous support that was found, right, last week. So I love that. Overall, this is going to be the major decision for me if price is going to stay going up or go down, right? So the opportunity that this pair does present right now is very optimal, okay? Because the reason being is because of the stop loss is about 40 pips, okay? And it's a clear stop loss. So there's sometimes you're going to have trades to where the stop loss is optional, okay? And the trade could end up going correctly, but you get stopped out of it. And the reason being is not all the time it's going to be something fundamental. Sometimes it could just be because you misplaced your stop loss and didn't put it at a good enough secure area. That way, you know, you want to put it at an area that way, you know, that if market reaches this level, then it can't be your analysis anymore, right? So what that means is I'm bullish on this, okay? So if price action reaches, you know, 0.69650, this is no longer a bullish setup. This would turn bearish. So that's the signal, that's the area there that lets you know that this is where price action should not achieve. If it does, then the structure of price would change, right? So it would continue to the downside, which we're bullish. So we don't want price coming anywhere near that area. So overall, you can see that you're going to have a clear stop loss here because, you know, if it comes here, it's just not bullish. Versus you'll have sometimes, like let's say you put your stop loss here, it could still come back down to this zone and go back up. So if you don't put it at a safe enough area, you can end up getting knocked out of this trade and you'll strangle yourself, right? So it's kind of like strangling the trade. You'll end up strangling the trade and not giving it enough wiggle room before it can actually take off. So it's always beautiful to have some kind of structure adding up with your trade analysis and having key areas that you can see clearly that price should not achieve. If it does, then you'll be looking more so downside, right? Or just a change in direction if we want to speak in general. So again, overall, I'm bullish on AUDUSD. I want to see respect, honestly, in this zone. Right now, it does look like we're forming somewhat of a inverted head and shoulders. Okay, I'm not sure how good you guys' eyesight is in the market, but I definitely can see a potential inverted head and shoulders. Now, we might come back a little bit lower to double bottom for this area here. You guys can see that first leg may double bottom and take off on the lower time frame. This could actually be the second leg, and we might actually take off from here. So overall, I don't want to see any closures below this support. That's going to bring that first warning sign up for me to let me know, okay, hey, DeAndre, you might want to watch this trade or watch this pair. It might head further down to the downside. And so when you have something like this, you potentially can minimize the loss by seeing that stop loss actually coming and, you know, potentially going to hit. So watch this pair if it does break below this low here, okay? As long as it respects this zone, I'm bullish on this pair. And again, it doesn't have to come back down to the zone to take off. It can actually take off here, okay? So just be mindful of that. That's AUDUSD, guys. So those are all of the pairs that I'm looking at for the rest of this week, guys. Again, just a quick recap. NZDUSD, I'm looking at this as a news trade, okay? On the lower time frame, I'm going to be finding my entry, okay? I'm bullish on this, okay? And the news is coming tonight, so this pair should pay me tonight is what I'm expecting. EURAUD, I'm looking for one more retracement up and then the sell. It could prematurely sell. If it does, we miss it, guys. It's okay. Beautiful analysis. The directional bias was on point, so that's all that matters. We're not going to beat ourselves up because price didn't come to the area that we wanted it to come to. As long as it goes to the direction that I want it to go to, I'm still happy, right? So I'm not going to beat myself up about it. EURJPY, just the update. UJ, watch for that break below support, guys. And then we'll look for further downside. USDCAD, I'm looking for sales in this range right now on USDCAD. I've already spoken on the TPs. You guys can break those down even more. Stop loss, we've already spoken on that at the previous high of the head. AUDUSD, I'm bullish, guys. So those are all of the pairs that I have so far that I will be looking at this week. I do want to thank all of you guys for tuning into this week's market forecast. And as always, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more weekly market breakdown. Okay? Have a great weekend, guys.